everyone. Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you've ever wanted more clarity in your life, then do we have the 2020 show for you? Today we'll talk about finding focus, gaining clarity, and discovering direction in your life for the years ahead. That plus we'll talk about ankle flare-ups, coughs and karma questions, body knitting, hiring clarity, starting an art club, a party with the mayor, running progress, mugging runners, 400 push-ups, learning ups and downs, running naked, and what in the world vegan brownies gone bad. Oh no,
oh,
I have to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine, but
Jessica's hopping up and down, going, I have had enough of these vegan brownies. She tried this last time. We're looking for the healthy brownie. I know last time we talked about donuts. We haven't actually gotten the machine running yet, but she did make brownies for her second attempt of the fall this week with molasses,
oh,
bitter brownies.
yeah. How did it turn out?
Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Yeah, it does sounds not so good.
So, but I like them as a health choice because I won't want us to bake anything else until we eat these,
Right.
and they may take quite a while.
What is it like eating like a small? What does it taste like? Like, what is it like?
I don't know, a little bit like an ashtray and chocolate.
Oh no.
It's
Oh.
not maybe that bad. It's just a little bit bitter. I put a little crumbles of one of the pieces over my oatmeal this morning with
Oh.
lots of fruit. That tasted great because the bitterness combined with the sweetness of
The
the cereal,
creaminess. Yeah, that's good.
it balanced well.
That's a lot of cereal. Maybe you have to cut it up in little squares and put it in your freezer, and then you can like add it to your smoothie, add it to your.
Now you're talking. I like it. And technically, I guess it's pretty much sugar free because it's molasses, although that's a
What
stretch.
is molasses?
I've looked it up exactly before. We bought it for Jessica's, pregnancy rounds this past year because it has a lot of minerals in it.
Oh,
So
didn't
she's
know
like,
it
"Yay, we're
was.
adding minerals to our brownies." So, but that didn't go quite as
Can you
expected.
do
But
molasses cookies? Just lean into the molasses.
I guess you could.
Because
So
molasses cookies are delish, especially, or there are a lot of gingerbread things for the holidays that are made out of molasses. That could work.
we will find out. She's definitely in baking mode right now. So we will give that a try. All right. So which is the most fun here topic to start people on? Ankle.
Running naked seems to be fun. Let's
I
talk
am
about that.
I am having fun. I talked about 2 weeks ago, the skinning up the mountain didn't work so well. And so last weekend, Jessica, who swears like a sailor when she uses her split board going up hills, takes us to the steepest mountain in the area for skiing before they were open for the season and said, let's run this thing. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, Pookie. And I started off as I usually do with a layer or two on. And within 2 minutes, I'm like, I'm too hot. And,
What were the
and
temperatures? I mean, because I know it's
20.
hot in the 20s and you're too hot running up there.
So I was
Wow.
I was in shorts, gloves, and socks and shoes, and that was it. And it was at the 20s at the bottom, and I don't know how cold it was at the top of the mountain, but I have adapted. I've been not doing a Wim Hof technique, but I've always liked to play in the cold. If people Google barefoot running or Michael Sandler snow, you'll find a Let's Go Surfing Now video with Jessica and myself running in the snow barefoot. But I've
Wow.
taken it to a new level of adaptation. It's
Wow.
good for the immune system. It's good for preventing things happening to your body in the long term. It's good for your joints. It's good for your energy levels. It's great for your metabolism. And I haven't there hasn't been a day this fall winter. I mean, it's winter here now,
Hmm.
where I haven't been able to go and within a few minutes go down to just my shorts, basically. My fingertips, they got a little frost nipped a few weeks ago, so I'm wearing gloves with them. Um,
I'm just trying to visualize you running with your shorts and a pair of gloves. I don't even know what to think.
what it goes
Wow.
under, category it goes under is A, limits are not what we believe they are. B, we're much more flexible and capable than we ever thought we were. C, the things which seem much most difficult if we lean into them actually may feel good. The concept of wrapping your mind around its 20s, let me take off my tops right now and go down to my shorts, just sounds awful. But
Yep.
when I get out there now, I've adapted so much. I was running with Jessica one day earlier this week, and I'm like, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm sweating in the 20s right now, and I'm convinced that the layer of sweat on me, despite everything that physics says, is actually keeping me from getting cold.
Wow.
It's a mind bender, but if you look at every other animal around, they're not going, give me a ski parka. Now,
Right.
yes, we have some domesticated doggies. I used to have one, my service dog, who was a Brittany, and
Yep.
she would, knee knocking cold in the 30s.
Oh.
I know, but our amazing ability to adapt and change, and we're talking about clarity for the new year and leaning into the things that you thought you couldn't do but are calling you forward.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking about I was talking to a friend of mine, and by the time I left the Camino, I was sleeping in bunk beds that were like so lumpy and awful, with a bunch of snoring old men, young men, partially clothed men and women, and in the albergue, which is what the typical place that most of the people stay because it's so affordable and also there's a lot of camaraderie. If you had said to me, "Oh yeah, you're gonna sleep in one of those beds like pretty much your whole time except for maybe 4 times," I would have been like, "No way! There's no way I can deal with that."
But I saw it coming.
Yeah, well,
Remember
and
when
at
you
the
were
end.
booking everything and I'm looking at you kind of funny going, heh heh.
Yeah. So I canceled all of them. But, I probably at the end, I could have slept on the ground, outside on the ground. Like you just
And been
kind of had to,
happy.
and been like, whatever, that's what I need to do. But it's funny because now I'm like, oh, and I was waking up at, 6 in the morning and walking for like an hour or two in the dark, and I didn't really think that much of it. And then a girlfriend of mine said, "Let's go for a hike." And I'm like, "Oh well, it gets dark at 4:18." This was yesterday, and she thought I meant like, "Yay!" Because then we can see the Christmas lights. I meant like, it's dark out. We can't walk when it's dark out. And I just thought that is so weird. Look how it's been 2 months, and now I'm already putting limitations on when I can and cannot walk. It's totally safe here in Seattle at 4 o'clock to walk around, but it's pitch dark, so it's not as comfortable walking as it is when it's light out. But it's interesting, we put limitations on what we can and cannot do. And even when we know that we're capable of it, because I was thinking, oh, well, I don't know if I can walk tomorrow because I've walked 10 miles. I'm doing 3 10-mile walks every week. And I thought, oh, well, I didn't space. Oh, I really shouldn't do it because I haven't had a break day, but I need a break day. And I was like, at the end of the Camino, I was walking like, and granted, I worked up to it, but not really. Like on the first day, I was walking like 10 miles, 12 miles, 14 miles. I mean, it was like 14, 12, 14, more every single day. And you just kind of do it. You don't think like, oh, I need to, I can't. It's in your mind, I think, those physical limitations.
All of it to some level. I mean, yes, if we build up too fast, we can create damage. And I'm Mr. Kind, Gentle, Easy, Good. But after you've done the Camino, when you look at that and you're saying, well, it's not every other day, there's a very good chance that your mind getting comfortable and turning into a slippery weasel, so to speak, on
Yeah,
you.
exactly. I mean, it was very interesting. So, and someone was telling me about this, and I guess you're proof of this. They're saying that when you work out a lot, you heat up a lot faster. So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
is that true? And why is that the case?
Well, I think your body it's an Pavlovian response. That's where I want to go, which is if I know I'm going to be going into the cold. Well, let's take a really special case. People who've gone for the world record swimming in the Arctic, for
Hmm.
instance, and they'll take them in a boat across the water to whatever iceberg they're going to go jump off of, and their body temperature is actually already going up in preparation for going into the water. Put you on the starting line of a marathon, and your heart rate is going up, and physiological changes are taking place in anticipation of the starter's gun. And so the body gets into a groove very quickly if you've been training and says, here's what I do to get loose fast. Well, I'm going to need to warm up. I'm going to need to open up my blood vessels. I'm going to need to do this and do that. And so, yeah, I probably do warm up faster. And my body is now expecting. It's why I get too hot now.
Wow.
If it's in the 30s and I've got a shirt on, I am melting now.
Wow.
That's the
Wow.
body's adaptation principle.
Right. Wow. That's very interesting. I did the Wim Hof for a while, and I'd hop into a cold shower, and now that it's winter, it's just so brutal. I can't do it. I have not been.
I did it in the fall. I do it oftentimes for a little bit, but I'm Mr. Kind, Gentle, Easy, Good. So I call it sealing the deal. I might do 5 or 10 seconds so that I get that taste of the cold, maybe in the fall in the showers. But now I'm just throwing myself in the cold air. I'm like, I'll take my hot showers.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I am not trying to torture myself. I know for a lot of people, they love that rush. I'll take it. You don't get quite the rush in the cold unless you like run outside barefoot in the morning to feed the chipmunks, which I do. But other than that, I do the gentle transition. I'll work up a sweat
Uh,
for a minute or two probably, and then I'll peel off the layers rather
yeah.
than just throw myself in because
Right.
I'm like, look, just how gentle, how loving. In fact, when I did my automatic writing this morning, it's the last exercise you do is what's your SMP? What's my single-minded purpose? The
Hmm.
main focus for today.
Yeah.
And the main focus I got today on top of it's always take care of Jessica, take care of the Pookie.
Hmm.
My main focus was gentle. How
Mm.
gentle of a Friday can you
Mm.
have?
Oh,
And
nice.
so, a lot of these things that I share sound like they're very young.
Hmm.
I don't do anything young. I'll run to the top of the hill faster than almost anybody, relatively. Aspen, never say that. There's always faster people. There's always somebody faster. Yeah, I went to the Olympics 5 times. Oh my God, I'm sorry I said anything. I am a beginner. That's what you say in this valley. I am a beginner. So, Michael, I heard you race bicycles in Europe. No, 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 no. I am a beginner. I've never ridden a bicycle in my life because they are just going to crush me. But with that said, it's about how can I make peace with what I'm doing? How
Yeah.
can I get into that flow? How can I, like Tai Chi, bring the mountain in so I am one with the mountain, which is a very different experience than trying to conquer the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I had I've had a really weird week. I can't even describe. Right now, if you were to look at my ankle, it's
Yep.
swollen again. It like right around the outside of my right ankle. It's like right at the ankle bone on near the heel. It's just puffed up like a little half of a ping pong ball. Again,
What
never.
happened?
I don't know. That's the weird thing. I honestly have no idea. So I went
Left
around.
side?
I was biking,
Yep.
um, and and I've been biking, so it's not like a new thing. But I went on a 12-mile hike. I did yoga, whatever. Then on Wednesday, did another 10-mile hike. Thursday, I thought, well, I'm tuckered out. This is weird, but I think I can't do anything today. I can't do anything. And then a friend of mine, I thought, oh, actually, I can. I think I am going to get. And I walked around like 5 miles, not that big. And
Yep.
then today I did a biking class for an hour, and then I did a weight workout for an hour. And then at the end, I was like, my ankle is puffed up like a ball, and I have no idea why. And then I called my
But we do know
chiropractor.
what was the offending at the most recent offending activity. It wasn't the walking, it was the spinning, was it?
Yes.
What was the last thing you did? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm assuming it has to do something. Like my ankle is trying to like work itself out.
Yeah.
You ever have one of your ankle kind of like you need to just like kind of
I know the feeling.
yes. I don't but so my husband I was like, "Can you just do something on me?" And he put his hand there and he's like, "I'm just sending it love." I'm like, "Okay, that's good." But it decreased the inflammation on my ankle when he did do that. Um, but yeah, it's just the mystery of like don't know why, and sometimes you don't know why. And I also woke up on Wednesday. What were we just talking about? I swear this relates, but it doesn't seem like it's relating. It really.
Running naked, adaptations, cold weather, doing enough, limitations of the mind, ankle flare ups,
Oh no, but it was related.
Gideon healing you.
No, no, no. We were talking about this right before. anyways, I won't. I kind of can't remember. It was related, and now I don't remember what the related point is. It had to do something with like being gentle with yourself and
Yes, yes, yes. Making peace with what you're doing. So I make
ah
peace with the mountain. I am one with the mountain rather than trying to conquer the mountain because mountains don't really get conquered.
yes. So I woke up. I had this really bad nightmare, and I'll tell you the nightmare. It's very interesting. It was like me drive. I was in. I got into an Uber. I drive into the Uber, and the Uber takes this like diversion, and like he takes a wrong turn, and then we go up a one directional highway the wrong way. And so there's all these cars, driving really
Ah,
fast, and I'm going down the highway in the wrong direction. And not only are these cars going really fast, they're somehow this highway is combined with a waterfall. So they're coming down like super fast, like waterfall fast, and then they're kind of coming down this like bridge that I'm on. So like the bridge makes it impossible for me to turn off. Like I'm just stuck in this car. And I'm in the back of the car and I I look up and I see that we're going up this hill. Um, and it's really not a hill, it's basically a waterfall. And we're
mhm.
driving right through the waterfall. And I thought, I'm going to die, but I really should not yell or scream back here because it could actually upset the driver, which is going to make it hard for him to navigate the situation. So I'm in back of the car, just like breathing and being calm, breathing and being calm.
I love it when you go to meditation in a dream. That's when you know you've been doing the practice.
Exactly. So I'm completely calm. We end up arriving in the dream. We end up arriving safely alive after this horrendous. I don't even know how we were able to cut through the waterfall and go up the waterfall into where we're going, but it ends up being the case. And I woke up in the morning and I thought, what was that? And there was a part of me that thought, well, do you have to analyze everything? Can you just let this be? Um, what is this all about? And I sat there trying to figure out what the right step would be. Because there are certain things where you look at and think, I don't have to do anything with this. Because the more I invest into whatever this is, the more I'm building the story that this thing is real and it attaches to all sorts of ideas and meanings that may actually not be the case. Um, but I spent a lot of time thinking this week. I'm curious to see what your answer is. This when you actually have there's a belief in that, and I don't know the belief, and I have to read up on it. But when you take action on something um, without maybe in a way that's harmful to yourself or others, then you're creating karma. Okay, but you're always creating karma because karma is just action. You're always, something happens and something comes along, you act, you react, and that you're creating karma. Most of the time, our karma is not negative. Like you drink a cup of tea, that's not negative karma, it's just kind of neutral. And I thought, but I've been really conscious about the actions that I'm taking and then being clear with like, what is the outcome of this? And I thought, well, should I or should I not analyze this dream? Because if I analyze this dream, I'm going to go more and more into believing that the dream is real. Because I woke up thinking like, oh, I feel off today. And my husband's like, oh, I'm like, no, don't do that. I mean, thank you, but like, please don't do that because when you do that, it's like off means bad.
Mhm.
Off means depressed or off means sad. Like, I don't even know what off means. All I know is that my energy is down and I'm off. And before heaping a whole bunch of meaning on it, can we just like look at it and accept, like, okay, I'm off today. Today is a gentle day. Like maybe a part of you is like, oh, I wanted to like go outside and work out, and like that doesn't seem very gentle. Or, but it's how do you just accept what comes up and not try to throw a label on it? That's what I've been thinking about. Um, but God, so many different things that I
There-
intertwined in that story. It's
And I'm
been a
going,
great.
how do I bring this back to vision and clarity? But with that said, I had a beautiful interview yesterday with Kamal Ravikant,
Hmm.
who's re-releasing the most amazing book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And it's
Hmm.
And it's got a beautiful new section where he really bears his soul. And he shares in there the story of a monk who he asks, um, how do you find not equanimity, but how do you find a state of joy
Hmm.
throughout each and every day? And he says, I say yes to whatever is.
Hmm.
And that's kind of my philosophy. And sometimes I do better than others with it. But it's a beautiful day. Yes, great. Things are crashing all around me. Yes,
Great.
great.
Yeah.
So rather than placing that judgment on it, in fact, if I was to place judgment on anything, I say it's all here to serve me.
Hmm.
Now, for myself, if I'm looking at that dream, I'm going, does it mean that I'm swimming upstream? But on the other hand, I made it. Does it mean that I'm doing great with my practice because I breathed into it and made it through? Is it just my subconscious clearing out stuff from the old, which happens in dreams? I'm like, all right, write it down, understand why I feel off right now, because if I get it down on paper, I'll understand and I'll tell Jessica, I had a weird dream again. And so I might be a little bit weird for a little while and then just let it go.
Yeah, well, I think
And
it's
that's what
about
you're doing.
it's going back to clarity and vision. Like I think that part of it is doing exactly what you said. It's like you have something come up, you get clarity, and like sometimes you don't really need the clarity. Sometimes it's not. It's like, do you need the clarity? Like it's clear. Just don't.
Do you need to beat me over the head, universe? I've got this one.
Yeah, or like, okay, let me see if I can think. Uh, okay, my throat has been like I've basically felt like I'm choking for the last 2 months. And it's like I feel the sensation. I can make all sorts of like horrendous meaning off of like, you know, and doing so actually makes me suffer. The more I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's not going away. And if I just accept like, well, for right now, my throat is I'm getting a choking sensation in my throat. Wish I could change it. Um, and I know if I start making stories about what it is, where it's going, it actually doesn't make it any better. And I just invest all this action into investing too much into making meaning out of something that is just showing up, right?
Well, that's a what you think about, you bring about, which means if you invest. So like if I have a sore foot, and earlier this week I went on something that was taking us like an hour and 10 minutes to get up it, and I got up it in 40 minutes. Woo, woo, woo. But my
Nice.
foot my foot got really sore from it because it's like a 20 plus degree grade. That's probably the flattest it is, and up side of a mountain where I'm using my ski poles to kind of like hold
Wow.
myself in place. So my foot got tired. Now I have a choice after that. One is I can put on arnica cream and CBD and stuff like that and let it go and lean into it first. Lean into it. What is going on? Where is this coming from? What does it mean? Focus on it. Go through the other side, put some cream on, and then let go. Because if I'm going, my foot's in pain, my foot's in pain, my foot's in pain, I'm going to bring out the body going, oh, you needed your foot in pain? Here, let me help you out.
Mm,
So there's this balance point of lean into it, go through it. Don't push anything away. But after you've gone through it, you don't need to focus on the darn thing
right.
or whatever. It's like focusing on a fear. Yes, the fear is here to tell you something. It might be excitement in disguise. It might say you need to take action on something. Take what action you can, lean into it, and then let it go. Don't keep going, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. Or
Hmm.
you're going to be,
Right. Yeah. So it's about gaining clarity about what it is. And sometimes you don't really need to like, sometimes actually you don't need to gain clarity on it.
you
It's
can
kind
let
of
it
like you
go.
can just let it go. You can go directly to let it go. And sometimes, like my ankle, it's like, well, I can't let this go because if I let it go, probably it's going to get really bad and my
Oh, it's a
body's.
teacher right now, and it's clear. You did the Camino, no problems. You do your walks, no problems. You get on the spin bike, everything's going. That there's some connection to something other than that doesn't mean you might not need to back off the walking a little bit,
Yeah.
but we got to ask the body. Me, I'm going to go into my automatic writing in the morning and go. Angels guide light workers body. What's going on? What
Right.
can I learn from this? What do I get to do?
Right. Yeah. And and also also. I think when you can't walk, I literally can't walk. I was hobbling down. I was like leaning down the stairs, going down, hobbling on one leg.
It's a story, hop. It's a story,
Yeah,
hop.
and I was like, well, it is a story, but I also can't walk. So it's like I gotta go do something to move the energy around. I mean, no, there's something terribly wrong with, not terribly wrong, something is out of alignment. What? I don't know.
And you know, I'd be going to a good acupuncturist right away and say, poke me, Scotty. You know, ding ding ding.
5:40. A couple hours from now, I will be there. I just found someone on the internet. I was just calling around. The usual suspects were gone or busy, and
Yeah,
I have been delaying seeing an acupuncturist. And I thought, oh, okay, I guess I'm supposed to see an acupuncturist. Here I come.
I would agree with this. I
Yeah,
would agree
so
with this entirely.
yeah, so I'm going to see an acupuncturist. But it's about gaining clarity about what it is that is coming up for you, whether it's a body pick, your body is speaking to you, the universe is speaking to you via automatic writing. Um, your higher self is speaking to you, and it's going back to what you do all the time, right? Do automatic writing to figure out what it's trying to tell you. Um, so tell me a little bit about what's happening with you. I think we've talked about running. Have we talked? You
So,
talked about a bunch of running things, running
well,
progress,
the
mugging
running's
runners.
interesting. So last year, after we got out of the bicycle racing season, and I'm
Yeah,
going, what in the world was that all about? Why was I repeating a pattern in the past? What did I get to learn from it?
yeah.
And said, all right, I don't need to do that anymore. I flipped on the runner switch a little bit.
Hmm.
And I've just been watching how I've been progressing after you focus on something for a year straight
Mm,
and how far I have come. And I'm
nice.
just very surprised. And that's, I look at at the year 2020, I call it the year of clarity.
Hmm.
You know, it has to do with the 2020 eye
Hmm.
chart. It's the
Hmm.
year that we get clear about our lives in many ways. And then I look at the 20s themselves as just like in the 1900s, the roaring 20s,
Right.
where it's an opportunity to have this really great period of our lives. And I say we really underestimate how far we can come in just a year
Yeah.
and how much stronger I am. So I went out on this other run, you know, shirtless, running along. This was the mountain day where I went up the steep
Hmm.
thing, and I'm coming back down, and I passed this guy who's off to the side in kind of street clothes.
Hmm.
Um, he's got kind of longer dark hair, shorter, 5'4", 5'5", and I see him drinking out of a disposable water bottle. He's crumpling it up, and I'm going, "Oh, is somebody going to throw a water bottle on the trail?" And I'm like, "You got to focus on the trail. There's snow and ice, Michael. Focus on the trail." I'm like, "Oh," and then I go down the stretch, and all of a sudden, the guy's right behind me. And I'm like, how fast does this guy run? And then we hit a slippery section, and the next thing you know, I've built some distance on him. And then I meet up with somebody who I'd seen at the start of the trail, and he's like, "Oh, I had no idea this loop went this way." And he goes, "Is there anybody else out here?" And I said, "Yeah, this guy," who just then flew past me. And now I'm chasing after this guy. And had this been last year, I'd be afraid of breaking myself,
Right.
and I keep distance. He gets farther than me on the flattish sections, and he's such a light runner. I get kind of pick up the pace on these slippery sections, and I get close to him, and I'm at the bottom, and I'm like, "Hey, you, stop!" And he might be like he's probably from Mexico, probably from the running region, like the Tarahumara. This guy runs like it's nobody's business. It is so
Wow.
incredible to watch this guy just in street clothes, out on like a work break, just doing the most amazing
Wow.
running. And so we're texting back and forth. I'm in English, he's in Spanish. I'm like, this is cool. We're gonna do some language skills, so we'll go
Was
running
you doing
together.
Google
Uh,
Translator, or what were you
that's what
using?
Jessica needed to do on the latest text. I'm like, I think he's saying he can't run today. I think that's what he's saying. But we both understand that we'd probably be good to run together.
Oh.
But man, how far I have come. And like I went out the day after that, my foot was a little sore.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I can push it and run today. I said, but my goal with running is to dance and to run incredibly fast and to have fun with the youngsters. I turned 50 this
Yeah.
coming year. And
Wow.
when I get over 50, I want to get back in races and all this fun stuff with people who are maybe half my age or something who believe that there are all these limitations. And I want to show people what I have done with my body. It's not to
Yeah.
compare to anybody else. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't need to push it today. You
Yeah.
don't need to push it. Your foot is a little sore, but we're going for the long run here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do a little less now. It's not a big deal. Let's wrap our minds around time differently and say, where do I want to be? Not tomorrow, not the next day, at the end of 2020,
Mm.
at the end of the roaring 20s. And let's do a really slow build
Mm-hmm.
that's sustainable for a massive period of time. And just how far can I go?
That's so exciting. Okay, and where do the 400 push-ups lean like figure out into all of this?
I haven't been able to get to the gym this fall, and usually I go to the gym each morning. I gave up on my membership around September, so
Mm.
that was like, with all we're building, I can't seem to do it, or I'm choosing
Not to, yeah.
not. And so I've been doing the basics at home. I have a chin up bar, I do chin ups, I do pull ups, I do push ups, and now on my arms day, I'm up to over 400 push ups.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't have that big arms or anything, but I can
Wow.
feel it.
This is like chest down to the floor, all the way back up.
Yes.
400?
Yes. Now, not I will do anywhere from 20 to 50 in a row, and then I'll go do some pull-ups, I'll do something else, and then I'll do a bunch more, do some push-ups, do something else. And before you know it, I've done over 400, building
Wow.
from zero. And that's
Wow.
I'm not any special. You take the tiniest little amount. Forget about massive gains and massive action and massive work. But do micro work over a massive period of
Right.
time
Right.
and how much the body adapts like you do in the Camino.
Yeah. Right. How does this have to do with clarity? I'm thinking. I understand what it's doing finding focus.
Clarity is looking big picture. I am
Mm.
taking each one of my coaching clients this year and I'm saying, let's go to the end of 2020. And I don't want you to write out what you think you want for the end of 2020. I want you to write out how you want it to feel. And
Mm.
we are going to use that feeling. That's a gift from the universe. That didn't come from you. Kids come in with personalities. They already know, do I want chocolate? Do I want vanilla? That is something from the other side of the veil.
Right.
Allow that to pull you forward. And so I am feeling I want to be strong as an ox. I am feeling I want to run mountains. I write that down. And then that starts to unfold without me having to think about it on a daily basis. And
Mm-hmm.
before you know it, you've come so much further than you could have imagined. Because now, right now, or a year ago for myself, and I've made it in most areas, there's one I haven't. But I put on the glasses of clarity for the year ahead and say, how do I want this to feel?
Mm.
Do I want freedom? Do I want independence? Do I want abundance? Do I want health? What does that look like? What does health mean
Mm-hmm.
to me? And that's
Interesting.
what I'm challenging everybody to do right now.
Interesting. So I went to a class a couple weeks ago, and it was on bodhicitta. Do you know what that is? Okay, so it's loving kindness and a practice about loving kindness. And one of the gentlemen, one of the lamas there, had suggested reading this book called Unconditional Love, and I got the book, and I've been reading it. And one of the practices, there's a whole bunch of visualizations, but the intent of the visualization, going back to vision, is to visualize that the Buddha is outside of you. So when you
Okay.
have the Buddha outside, it's not like, you imagine a Buddha statue. You do, in fact, imagine a brilliant blue sky like the one behind you. And it's like, brilliant and sparkling. And then there's a mountain. And in that mountain is like all these beautiful flowers, just like the ones that you have in back that are kind of blooming. And on top of that is a moon. And on top of that is this like crystal shining Buddha. And it's just like shining this beautiful bright light of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And in that light comes, love, wisdom, compassion, equanimity. And these are the virtues of the Buddha. And so you train yourself to see that on the outside, to always see love, clarity. And so even though I walked out today, someone may actually, it's interesting if you train your mind to see love, um,
Giving a
wisdom.
big nod here.
Yes, love, wisdom. And and at first I was like, huh, after you do that for a long time, what happens is you start feeling what's outside is inside. Like if you just keep the view of seeing love, compassion, you know, wisdom, power, and that's all love is all around you, all of a sudden it just starts becoming part of who you are on the inside. And so I think that's kind of going back to, what are you visualizing first off? Are you visualizing like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do what Michael's doing. It's too cold. I don't think I can do it. Or are you visualizing, yes, I can. It doesn't have to be like, like you said, it could be kind, gentle, easy, good. Some days you take off. Some days you do a really long run. But I think that it's just having the 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 mindset of all you're seeing are those kinds of things. And it's interesting. I've been reading this book over the last 3 weeks, and I was walking on the street, and it just felt like everyone was a loving presence. Are they? I don't know.
Well, yes. Well, at the end of the day, period. Yes. They may wear different disguises. One of them may
Yeah.
be an axe murderer as a
Right.
disguise.
Right.
One of them may be the person who you see in the news who maybe you like the least. It's
Right.
all disguises. It's all the innocence and love of a baby. It is all love.
Yeah. If you can start seeing the world in that way, what happens is that the world feels safe and people feel safe. And I was, this class, I think I was talking to you about attunement. So if you actually feel like the world is safe, everyone values you, you value everyone else. You attune to the people around you. You're smiling, they're smiling back at you. And, so if you feel felt, seen, attuned, and if you have this world in which you're visualizing all of this outside, what happens is that it gets reflected back to you. And it's weird because I've said to my husband, like, am I smiling at people? Because it seems like everyone I look at is smiling at me. And I'm not sure if I'm initiating a smile. I don't know if I just have a smile on my face. So I'm initiating, but like when I'm walking on the street, more more often than not, people are smiling at me, and I was like, "Am I smiling at them?" And they're doing that, and who even knows? Who really even knows? But you start creating this virtuous cycle of stuff that's happening.
When I say like on the ads in the show or when I do my newsletter, I say, "Hello, bright and shiny beacon of light."
Hmm.
We are each a sun. We are each. I mean, we could literally go to a electron microscope and see that we are emitting light. We all emit light. You can go to Kirlian photography,
Hmm.
and you can see your aura. But what you can also see is the more that you start to resonate at that frequency of seeing light and love outside of you, the more the light starts to grow brighter in you.
Hmm.
And you literally become a bright and shiny beacon of light walking down the road. The cashier, the barista, the Uber driver, the whomever is going to reflect that light back to you. Now, I don't want to take the reverse because people hurt themselves with self help and they go, well, people are treating me poorly, so I must be a bad person.
Hmm.
No, you haven't done anything wrong. However, we can start to see it outside and change the inside. And when we talk about clarity for the new year, that's an important component. How much do you want to feel the love, see the love, be a missionary of love, be an ambassador of love, and view and feel the world from a state of love rather than from a state of hostility?
Yeah, and it's so much what we have to do right now. I mean, it pains me just seeing all the news is just so painful in so
Teachers.
many ways. Yeah, because it's like, oh gosh, there's so much hatred and misunderstanding and projection, and it's just so hard. It's so hard to see, but I think if you do see that, it's like these are just people who are teaching us, and perhaps you can say revealing what's been concealed all along. There's some parts of us that are still scared, that are still afraid and that are still scared, and they come out, in the public forum. And until we recognize that that's the case and heal it and love those people, even though it hurts us sometimes because it may affect our sensibility and values. I think that's what you can do, because sometimes I hear this, what should we do? What can I do? It's like just love. Because it's funny because I was talking to a friend who was really mad at his mother. He went to visit his mother for Thanksgiving. So this is like a younger person. And he said, I'm really mad at my mom. And they just don't listen to me. And like as punishment, I'm just going to leave in this kind of like whatever state. And I
Oh,
was like, oh, as a mom, I just implore you, I beg of you, please don't do that.
yeah,
Please just, you just never know. It could be the last time you see your mom. And do you want to leave your mom in that whatever kind of snarly state,
yeah,
if that's the last time you see your mom? And it's karmic, right? If you leave knowing and leaving in a particular way with the intention of harming your mom, you're creating bad karma for yourself. So even if even let's say that your mom is completely wrong in every way and you're right, she's wrong, all these different things. When you act and react in that way where you're like, aha, I'm gonna get you back, by leaving you in a bad state so you'll regret doing this to me. It's like that's really
you're
it's
drinking poison.
yeah, it's like I know that it may feel good on some level, but it's just so bad karmically for you.
Go in. This is hard. And even with our spouse, we all run into well, I can only speak for myself. Even when you have a situation and it's not feeling good, go in for the hug.
Yeah. It's so
E-
hard to do sometimes,
It is.
but it's you have to decide what you want your life to be about, right? If it's going to be about love, then give the hug even though you don't even feel like giving a hug or say I'd really want to give you a hug but I can't right now, but know that I love you. And that's why I said like just tell your parent even if you cannot scrounge out anything, just say to them verbally, I love you. I am going to think about this and we're going to talk about whatever this is. And when I return, and I'm in a better place, let's have a conversation because I don't want this to be left in this untoward position.
Yeah.
Um, but it's gaining clarity, discovering the direction that you want to take, right? Which is towards love, and then focusing on that. It's so easy not to do.
Yeah. Which means it is always a conscious choice. And so I think clarity and intention go hand in hand, which is you may need to write out each morning. I want to be a bodhicitta. I want to be a bodhisattva. I want to choose love today above and beyond all else, or in my case, choose to relax
Right.
today above and beyond all else, and remind yourself so that when that cab honks at you or something when you're stepping out, instead of reaching for the monodigital response, you
Right.
go shazam and you say, I said love, I said love, I said love, which can happen more if you gain that clarity first thing in the day and set that intention.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to tell you, having setting my intention in the morning, and it's about the thing that you were saying that you do with coaching, right? I'm really trying to see love and wisdom and power, not in the kind of like, strong on power, but like the power of love, the power of this incredible energy, that life energy that's running through us all the time. If you focus on that, um, it really does. I'm shocked at how much like I walked away around the other day and I was like, oh, look at that. Oh, it's like, wow. It takes a while to do, but gosh, it makes a huge, huge difference. Even with this messed up ankle, I'm like, oh, and I was like, well, don't go, because I'm hobbling home from the gym. Ow, ooh, ow, ow,
Oh
ow.
no,
Like literally, it was like that the whole time.
got to get to the interview.
Yeah,
Ow,
yeah, exactly.
ow, ow.
I was walking back, like, it was like a
I'm
20
sorry,
minute
CJ.
walk, so it was probably like a mile where it's like, ow, ow, ow. Okay, don't make meaning out of this. Don't like get into a tizzy. You just have to like figure out how to like right itself, whether it's acupuncture or whatever, and don't go berserk on this. It is what it is. Why it's coming up, I don't know. Just allow it to be. Don't get all spun out.
What if the real
Ow, ow,
story
ow.
is it's ow, so that you go to the acupuncturist,
Hmm.
so that the acupuncturist finds some ways to balance your body and take you to a completely new level of health that you didn't even know that you could be at because your ankle got you in? We have no
Yeah,
idea.
or if that I needed that I wouldn't have done if my ankle hadn't done that. The
Right.
other the other weird thing that I have on mine is literally a coughing cough. I have this weird thing where I went and I saw my teacher. My practice is energetic, so and energy does weird things. Like you move to a point in your practice where you're cleansing, clearing, and refining your energy. And then what happens is you reach a point where you're no longer doing that practice. The practice
Mhm.
is doing you. I don't know how to
Yes.
explain it aside from so because that may sound really weird for other people, but I will sit there if I just sit still and I watch the energy, it's going and doing all these really interesting things. I'm not doing anything. The energy has a life of its own and it's just moving inside of me doing that. And in fact, you could also say that life is like that. If we were completely conscious, we move only when the energy is moving us. Like, I go up and go and I don't know, I was actually walking along and I had an oatmeal that I was eating and it was half eaten and I saw this guy who was shaking. He had some probably a drug addiction problem and he was shaking and I thought, "Oh my God, poor guy." And then I said, "Do you want my oatmeal?" Because I mean, it was half eaten, so I felt a little bit weird asking him. But
Yeah.
he's like, "Yes." Like it was like the best thing that could have happened to him. So we ate that. I felt bad, but then I was like, I was hungry, but I wasn't that hungry because I ate half of it. But I gave him the oatmeal, and it just felt like
Perfect.
it's like I didn't think about it. It was just the right, and there were if I had thought about it, I'd be like, oh no, that's weird. You already ate it. That seems inappropriate. Like, why are you giving? It's like that seems insulting. All this stuff. But it was just like, oh, I'm like walking. I need to give this guy my oatmeal, and I just gave him
I
my
love
oatmeal.
it.
It's so like all of a sudden, like life, the energy starts doing you, and you find yourself doing these things. So in that vein, I went to see my teacher
Yeah.
online, and I'm coughing during this meditation, and it doesn't stop. It's happens throughout the whole night, and I'll imitate it, but it goes like this. It's just out of nowhere. I'm making that noise throughout the whole night.
Oh, as Gideon is going, oh dear
He's
Lord.
just like, and I was like, and I was like, and I'll say to him, and I just said, just ignore it. It's energy. It's just, it's like energy. It's energy that's trying to clear out of my throat, I think. So there could be a theory that with this acupuncture and when my ankle gets cleared out, I hope that it may be clearing out this other. I mean, energy is trying to make itself out, but now in very wayward, bizarre ways.
I will
So
be very excited to see how you're doing next week.
I'm, I'm really going to be really excited to see what happens too, because yeah, it's funny because this whole week we've been talking about like three different situations. One is like waking up in the dream and like should I analyze it or is that like going too much into it? But I did analyze it, and it was about samsara or delusion, and all
Yeah.
the people on the highway were going like on this waterfall, just falling out. And I'm actually it. The person driving the car, I found out, was me. It was my higher self driving the car. And it's my ego in the back going like, what? But at least my ego was like meditating,
Mhm.
which I thought was like, okay, that's progress. My ego is in the back not yelling and screaming, but meditating, trying to keep calm. I'm like, all right. And so it went up and it was safe, because I think that to me, it was just an imagery of we always create waterfalls and fear and stories that we're in trouble, we're gonna die, we're something bad is gonna happen to us, and like if you let the higher self, in my case, the Uber driver is my higher self, drive,
I like it.
yeah, and you kind of
Hopefully you were paid well for it.
yes, and if you can just be calm, and your ego can stay calm, like everything is actually fine. But it's
Mhm.
having the clarity, I think. Also, it's like having the vision and clarity. Like if there's a mindset, it's that whole Albert Einstein that the world is a friendly place. I know that these are the values that I'm going to bring about this year, my 2020 vision, and it's going to happen because my vision of what the world is positive. I have these really clear intentions on my value. I can see that clearly all around me, even if sometimes I have to like manufacture it, but slowly by slowly, I was safe. Even the and if you allow someone outside of your egoic, fearful self to drive, you can be okay. You can go up a
Woohoo!
waterfall the opposite direction.
Jessica wanted me to bring up learning ups and downs because
Yeah,
we're going through so many changes
I know.
with our business and so many different things going on that it's really easy for the ego to get ruffled feathers in the back
Yes.
seat. But if you understand big picture and long term and where you're going and say, I don't need it right now in this moment, I've been fine. You said you talk about universe working. How do we put this? The energy, at first you're moving the energy and then the energy is moving you.
Yeah.
When you understand that the universe is breathing you, you're not breathing the universe. You can stop breathing all you want, but eventually you're going to take a breath and you're not going to try. You're just going to breathe.
Yeah.
When you understand that you understand that 2020 will breathe you too.
Hmm.
And so allow for the in breath and the out breath without saying one is good, one is bad. It's all carrying you forward in life.
Mm.
Doesn't mean that we're not going to have muck, doesn't mean we're not going to have mire, does not mean we're going to have a swollen ankle or a foot drive and park itself or a car drive and park itself on our foot. Ouch.
Wait, what?
But
What did that happen to you?
no, no, but the metaphor, be careful what you say, Michael, but
But it's all good.
it's all good. It's all good. It is all, it doesn't mean, oh, yeah, well, you could say, oh, yeah, it parked on front of my foot. It's here to serve me. It is. We don't necessarily have to celebrate it. Allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to have all the range of emotions, but breathe into that as well
Hmm.
and understand it is all, it's both, waves and troughs, but it's all going around the mountain at a higher level awareness
Hmm.
of a higher level awareness. So what's going on to you right now? A few years ago, you might have gone, "Oh my God, my ankle's swollen. I'm like, this is the end. This is I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm going to be able to walk again, run again. Who knows what's?" And now you're like, "Oh, wave's gone down, swollen. I'll do something about it, but eh."
Yeah, I could put some ice on it. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, and I made an appointment for an acupuncture at 5:40 today, so like, that's maybe really what all that needed to happen. Who knows? But I did something. I mean, I felt moved to do something. I tried to go all the usual suspects, didn't work, and then like, boom, some stranger in Ballard near me, I will go and get poked with needles with.
And I think that goes along. I think what I'll go with the last theme for today.
Yeah.
Although it'd be fun to talk about the baby blanket and Jessica doing this body weaving thing with these giant yarns and making a baby blanket, which is envisioning for the future.
Oh,
We
cool.
don't have baby on the way yet, but
Yeah.
but that's part of the 2020 thing. But you said felt moved,
Hmm.
and that is the universe breathing you. The universe breathed you to give oatmeal, and the universe can breathe you the most beautiful year ahead. Now we can go against the flow, try to drive uphill into this imaginary waterfall. That would
Hmm.
be trying to think out. Here's what I want to accomplish, and here's what I want to do in 2020. Not that you and I are both high achievers. There's nothing wrong
Hmm.
with wanting something and going for it with everything you've got, but feel into it.
Hmm.
What does that feel like? Is that going to be energizing and make me feel lighter, like I'm
Hmm.
floating, like the Buddha sitting on top of the moon, on top of everything?
Hmm.
Or is it going to make me feel like, oh my God, that's the kind of year I have ahead?
Hmm.
Find what pulls you forward, what makes you feel lighter, and then feel moved to bring that about for
Hmm.
the year ahead or for this moment. If you feel like, I feel like going having a molasses brownie, go have your molasses brownie. If you feel moved to donate them, give them away, or say chipmunks, let me Google it. Chipmunks allergic to no, I'm not gonna give the chipmunks away. But you get what I'm saying.
Just it's throw it away, Michael. It's okay. Throw away
I
those
will nibble
brownies.
at these things. I do have one of my bugaboos. We've all got them. Is I'm not a waster,
Yes.
whatever that means in quotes. And I've heard it said that you are not wasting anything if you throw the food away. There will be microbes and bugs and stuff that will be plenty happy to take care of it.
Yes.
But like me in a Ziploc bag, and I've got like 1,000. I'm like, why? Why do we need another Ziploc? I don't want to have to.
We are the
We,
same
we
person, Michael. I have a whole bunch. I have a whole stash of Ziploc bags. I'm like, my family's like, really? How long? How many? Have we had this over a year? I'm like, I don't know.
please don't throw it away.
Yeah, it's like,
I
can
promise
we?
I
Can we
will find
use it
a
enough?
recycling center.
We are the same person, Michael. That's exactly the same
I'll
scenario.
CJ.
Okay, so body knitting. That's body knitting. And what's the art club? Do we have time for
Oh,
that?
she started an art club. Today was her first meeting. I'm so excited because she's envisioning, she doesn't know what the future is bringing, but she's allowing that to pull her forward.
Oh, good.
Her drawing is pulling her forward, her wanting more connection. That's part of our vision for 2020 is I have amazing connections online. I have quite the cool Rolodex at this point, as do
Yes.
you.
Yes.
However, we want those close personal connections. So she started an art club. I got an email a couple days ago from the mayor. I'm like, that's so cool. Can you come
Nice.
to a party tonight? I'm like dropping everything. I'm like, people, real people.
So I can't wait to hear about the party with the mayor tonight.
So
Ooh,
actually,
nice.
it was 2 nights ago. Did get to go.
Oh, you did?
Um, yeah,
Oh,
it was really, really cool. Met some amazing, very special people. Also, some people that I had known or who knew me that I didn't know very well. And the big thing, I didn't expect this. I pulled up in our old little Suzuki that we've had for over a decade, mud splattered. It says barefoot running on the hood and a couple other places. And Jessica to this day is like, why haven't you peeled that off yet? But they're like, oh, you've got the yellow Tesla. You've got the yellow Tesla. You're the guy with the yellow. I had no idea that I'm like a known commodity for my car.
wow. Nice. And then you're like, what's a Suzuki here for?
It's all good because Jessica had to go out to her body sewing and it's rated like the safest vehicle in America. So I'm like, you take it.
Yes,
So
that's funny.
protect the Pookie at all costs. But it was fun being out there. It was
Nice.
just part of my vision, what's important to me, and the close personal connections and connections to community are becoming more and more important. I have my three goals, which is really four, but three main goals for 2020. One is automatic writing program, sharing that and sharing the book with the world, which also means book, 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 book. I want to write like there's nobody's
Oh,
business.
good.
O, getting myself out there.
Hmm.
This was a piece of getting myself out there. And M, marketing. Figure out how to share everything that I have with the world while growing the deepest connection to love, being an ambassador of love more, spreading love more, going back to that state of love more, and just being the healthiest version of me in every way, shape, or form I can be.
Woohoo! That's the best ever. That's great.
So,
Exciting.
any last words, thoughts, or your 2020 envisions? And we can ask you about this over the next couple of weeks because I want to challenge everybody. If you're listening to this, let's grow together. Let's write these things down. Let's envision. Let's feel it out from the heart. You can come over to our YouTube. We do a once a week live YouTube event, Tuesday nights at, I think it's 8:30 Eastern. It seems to be creeping a little bit later and later on our YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/Inspire Nation. /Inspire Nation show. But share with us. We're going to all grow together. What are yours right now, CJ? And I want to see how this evolves over the next few
Yeah, right
weeks.
now, I mean, I think it's I'm really realizing that I'm compelled by the whole bodhisattva kind of idea. And I mean, that's a lot of what we're doing right now. It's like trying to ease the suffering. So I want to continue doing that in whatever form it will take. And I'm literally letting the universe pull things towards me and just being open to respond to whatever comes. And things are coming out of the blue, and I'm responding. And we'll see where they all land. There's probably like four things that have come out of like the ether, and I'm responding, and we'll see where it goes.
And I'm
Um,
giving you one more before I
yeah,
let you go,
yeah,
which is I just had the most amazing guest on just an hour ago,
yeah.
James F. Twyman.
Uh-huh.
And you absolutely get to, I feel like I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but you absolutely positively have to have him on your show. And I'll tell you why after I double check that I am saying his name right. Yeah, I guess Twyman is it.
Yeah.
Um, he's written 16 New York Times bestsellers. He's a producer, he's a director, he's a singer, a songwriter. He's got a Broadway production
Wow.
coming up on St. Francis of Assisi.
Wow.
He's going to be taking a St. Francis walk across the country with nothing on him
Wow.
and with no money, with no anything, and allowing for everything to unfold just as it should. And he wrote the most beautiful book, which dovetails with you perfectly, called Giovanni and the Camino of St. Francis.
Oh. All
and the
right.
journey's on St. Francis's Camino.
Oh.
He is awesome. He's got it going on, and you will absolutely, positively, incredibly resonate with him.
Okay, good. Well, send me his info and I'll contact him. I'll follow up with doing that. So yeah, okay. So it's basically letting stuff come to me, following the flow, the kind of bodhisattva path really resonates with me. I think that's just a shortcut of describing
Yeah.
what I've been doing all along, and it's just a shorter way of describing it. And to practice this whole bodhicitta idea, so that I think my spiritual practice will deepen once I can actually feel more grounded on this earth. And so I'm doing practices like the bodhicitta so that I feel safe and secure and welcomed and loved. And I can, from that foundational place, do the same to other people, which I feel like I go outward, but I don't do it from a place of feeling this deep sense of attachment and
Mhm.
security inside from based on all of my childhood and such. So
That's
I'm trying to,
hard.
huh?
It's hard.
It is. So I'm trying to build that without having it's like I'm trying to baby myself, if that makes sense, from all those stages that you would have gotten if you were to get that as a child, but trying to give those things to myself now
Yeah.
so I can have a more stable foundation to grow my spiritual practice. I mean, I'm pretty grounded as it is, but I think I can even be more so if I could kind of flip from the survival instinct to the towards love, to move from the survival instinct towards just seeing love all around me. So those are kind of two big ones right now.
Woohoo! All
They're
right,
kind of
we'll touch base
esoteric.
in a few weeks, and then we'll touch
Yes.
base. We'll keep this rolling and see where we're at, like
Yes, I
partway
love
through
it.
next
I
year,
think
and
it's a
say,
great idea.
how is this going?
Yes, I love
So,
it. I think it's a great idea.
on that note, I'm late for coaching.
Okay.
So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
say, be well, have fun, put on those spectacles, and envision the most amazing 2020 year ahead. And above and beyond all else,
Shine bright.
woohoo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.